Yeah. So hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So my name is Punit and today I have been assigned a project on queue data structure on an salon based application. So let me first introduce myself. So I'm a student at Level Professional University who is pursuing BTech CSC in specialization AI and data engineering. With this course is also having collaboration with Futurance. So let me first try to introduce like how my project will be working. So my project will be fully based on admin perspective. Like the admin will be just seeing or just will be checking an overview on the customer which will be coming into his or her saloon. So it's in total admin perspective GUI based app which will be based on queue data structure like who all customer are coming first will be served first and then afterwards how the customers are coming they will be served like that only. So let me just give you a quick recap of my previous video which we have done on queue data structure on a daily scheduling application. So most of the functions are from there only, but here we will just be into more depth and we will be diving into a project like this project is a bit more complicated than the previous one and a bit more GUI based, but yeah, the functions are pretty much similar. So let me just try to give a quick introduction of what queue data structure is exactly. So what exactly is queue? So queue is a data structure which works on a principle of first in, first out. We can also just analyze it in a way like the person who comes the first will serve the first. Let me just try to explain you with an example. Like just we can imagine in our project perspective only. Like if you are into a saloon, you can't get the service at the first. So saloon works on a principle of queue. Like whenever you will be coming to a saloon, you will be served by a chance. Like the person who will come the first will be served the first. Then following up by the order. So this is you can just relate queue with more of an example which are just going on in this real life. By the end of this video, you will have a full understanding of how a queue operates with a saloon environment, and you will see a project in action. So here is a quick preview of what or how this our final project look like. So let's just quickly see what queue is and how does it work. So let's just think like this is a ticket counter and this is a line. There is some guy standing here first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So who will be getting the ticket first? So I think the first should get the ticket first, then second, then third, and fourth, and it will be followed again and again. So this is how queue works. There must be a guy who came at the first. So he's at the first and followed by all the numbers. So this is what we call a queue, and this is following the principle of first come, first out. So let us just quickly see some important functions which will be used in our code, and it's the basic function of queue and the basic and the most important ones. So the first function is enqueue function. So what enqueue function is? Enqueue function is basically to add an element or data at the end. For example, if we will be talking about this line, so there must be a guy who will be coming after 5. So he will be named as 6 and after 5. So what will be the concept in this? So to add this in the code. So what we will be doing is rear dot next is equal to the node which will be having this data. Like we have to make a new node which will be having 6 in it. So let me just try to make you understand like what is this rear and front, why we are using this. Is there any other way which we can do these operations without these variables or pointers? So the advantage of getting rear and front in this picture is the rear is used to add element at the last in oven time. Like if rear would not be there, then every time we have to traverse till the end and then we can add the last element into it. So and the front is used to get the peak element at oven time every time. Yeah, one more thing. So queue and stack, they both can be implemented in many ways. So one more the basic ways are like using list and linked list. So in this project, we will be using linked list because it's more optimized and faster than a normal list because some operations in list just take O and time and the same operation in linked list take open time. Like for example, if it would be a list, if we are adding or removing from the first, then everyone index would get decreased. If we are removing from first, so it will take open time. So these all things are like very much, it doesn't seem like much more important, but if we will see that in a bigger level, so it would affect our project or our code in a very bad way. So we should just try to implement those type of data structure who are for that purpose only, which will be making our code more optimized. Yeah. So let's come to a point like what NQ is. So NQ is like a function which will make to add element at last in open time using real. I told you why real is important. Yes. And one more thing that we should keep in our mind, like we are setting real by ourselves. So whenever we are adding an element at the last, so we have to increase real by one. Yeah. So and if we are keeping a size variable also, then we have to increase the size of that linked list too. Yeah. So the second operation is DQ operation. So the next operation is DQ operation. So it is like DQ operation is like just opposite of NQ operation. NQ operation is for adding at the last, and DQ operation is to remove from the first. Because as we all know, first in, first out. So if we would imagine it as one, so he must be the first one to come in, and he will be the first one to get out. So let me just try to explain you how DQ operation will work in our coding perspective. So it's very simple. We have to just print if it's front. So we have to just return front dot next. But as this front, we have to keep this as a reference also. We have to update it also. So first of all, we have to just store it in a temp variable, and then we will just do that temp dot next, return that temp dot next. So this is how it will look like. Like first of all, we will just save our front into a variable known as temp, and then we will just print return its next. So our next operation is peak operation. So what this operation will do is like it will just return our front. It will just return our front because what peak operation do is it gives us the first one to get out, the top one, or we can say that the first one to get out or first one to get served. So some more operation are like size. So we can just initialize size at the starting, and whenever we will add some data into it, we will just increase the size again and again. Then there is one more function like is empty. So it will check that our queue is empty or not. So what we can do is we can do anything. We can just traverse it, or like we can just see the size. Again, we can see the size. Is it zero or not? Then there will be some another function like to show out the value. To show out the value. So it's very simple. We have to just traverse it for showing all the values in it. So I think those all functions are very much enough to get started with the project. So So first of all, what we have to do is first we are just creating a class node which is just consisting of data and next, which is very usual and very basic in linked list because we have to create a class node for implementation of linked list. So then we are making a class queue because we want our new type of data structure which we will be making using hooks. So class is very important concept. If we have to add some functionality according to us, so we just make a class by ourselves. So let's say try to make it. So first of all, we will assign a constructor to it. We will be setting front as none because in starting there will be no element in it. Then we will be starting rear also as none. And then we have to set size as 0. That's all. So so the first operation would be NQ operation because that's what I've taught you in some minutes before. So let's do it. NQ operation will add the first element into our queue. It will be taking two parameters, shelf and data to be added at the last. So we can make a, first of all, if we cannot add data at the last in just like that only. So we have to first make it as a node. Let me first write it, then I will explain how it's working. Okay. Then we will just increase its size again because the first element will be added. Yeah. So how is it working is, so first of all we will check if it's none, then we have to set self because it's our ideal case when there will be only one element into our linked list, the front and rear both will be the same. So it's our ideal case. So it will be checked again and again, but it will only, this it will work only one time at the start of the loop, start of the adding of that process, and else we will what I have said you, we will set rear dot next to the new node, and then we will change the rear to the last node because we have to keep the reference of rear again and again with us to add the element in open time. If there are some very much customers coming or very much data is there. Now we can make another function named as is empty. We can just check if our queue is empty or not. So it will only take shelf, no data is to be added or to be modified, and we will just return shell dot front is none. It's very simple. So then our next function will be dequeue function, which I have already set to remove the first element from the linked list or queue. If shell dot is empty, first of all we will check if it's empty or not. If it's empty, we will return none because there will be no sense to do that if it's already empty. And then with what I said earlier is we will just save the front into another variable, and then we will change and then we will change its next, and then there are some side cases. I will explain you. Wait a minute. Yeah, one more thing, when you are just removing an element from your queue, so you have to also decrease the size because it's also very important. Yeah, so this is how our dequeue function would be. So we have to check if it is empty or not, then we have to save our front also in another variable, then we have to set it to the next. Then there is some side cases like we will check if front is none and rear is none, then those all things it will just remove our errors and all those things. It would be, the program would be more optimized. So our next function will be peak. So this will display the element which is to be served the first. So it will be just checking like if it's empty, return none, or otherwise it will return the front one, because the front one is we are just keeping it safe every time who will be getting the first. After he is removed, we set the front to the next one which is followed by him. So let us now just make another function which will be get all. This will just show our all the customers who are there in our queue. So this will be done using a list, or we will just save all of them in the list. Shell dot front, and while current then customers dot append, customer, no, it's customer, sorry, customer dot append current dot data. It will be appending all the data into it because we want to see the data, how we cannot see the node. Yeah. So let me just try to explain it. So we are just keeping an list here to store all the data which we will display afterwards. So then current is just saving the first element because we will just traverse it till the end to, and then just we will just traverse till the end. Then we will append each and every element or data, or we can say node, into our list. So and then we will return a list. So this will just give us all the elements in the queue. Then we can make another function which will just return our size, because we are just keeping check on the size every time when we are making a function. So this will never be wrong, because when we are making a project, so we have to do one thing, like we have to make it optimized. Why I should be doing traversing again and again to get the size, to get need to enqueue at the last, to dequeue and all those things. So I'm just taking a data structure which is suitable, perfect for this project. Then we can take a clear function, like if the shop is closed, so we can just clear them all, and like in this case of an emergency, it's not good to close the shop again and again. It's not good to close the shop without any reason. And we will just check the size to see it. And this code will perfectly done. And now we just make a command line interface for this project. So I have already written the command line interface code, which we can see in command line. So I wrote it because we have a lot of stuff to do, and this one is the most basic one. So let me just do the main part for you. And we will set a queue. Then while true. Then we will just ask our input from a user, like what input. According to the input, our function will be working. Yeah, perfect. Now we will just ask user choice, that what the user wants. I will provide the code into the in GitHub also. You can just access it if someone wants it for their project. Then we will just enqueue the customer into it. So what's in this code is like we have a command line interface which will just print what the user wants. It's just a basic thing which what the user wants, and this is the main code, and this will work until we just press 6 or any other button. So 6 would be the best if we want to exit our this command line interface. So first of all, we will make a queue, and then this will run until I want it, and then I will ask the user choice, and if the choice will be 1, I will just perform the enqueue operation. So what's happening in this code is, if the choice is 1, the customer will the user will add the customer name, and we will just enqueue it into the list, and then we will just print it. Very simple. Then if the choice is 2, if choice is equal to 2, like it's up to me, like in which choice or in which number, which what I have to do. So on the choice 2, I will just what I should do. Yeah, I should just EQ it. So customer is equal to q dot dq. Listen. And there are some side condition also. If served customer is still there, we have to print f string customer name, and the customer name, which is like the customer name whom we have provided the services, like he is left, his work is done, as result. Yeah. Then we can do if choice is equal to 3. Then what we can do is, like, we can get the peak element. Next, customer is equal to q dot peak. It's like very much defined what is peak. Nothing much conceptual in this. And if customer print f string, next customer in the bracket. Next, first we will just print out the first element from it. Else, and the index the size of the queue is 0, we have to print it's empty. Queue is empty. Now, oh sorry, we are using if here, we have to use elif, then elif choice 4. Then we have to do it's for our customer should be printed on the screen like the customer names, which all have to be served yet they haven't been served. And then we have to do all customer section like if all customers print spelling of customer is wrong, all customers, yeah, print current customer is queue. Some spaces could be looking better than, and then space, then dot could be looking perfectly better, then we will join it in the last. Join all customers and customers of the customer. Else print the secure is empty. Yeah, that's it. Approximately done. Elif choice is equal to 5 q dot clear. Clear it. Print q clear. Elif choice equal to 6. Print exiting the program. Else print invalid choice. Try again. Please try again. Respect to the customer, not the administrator. Then we will just run our constructor to the main file. Then we will call the main file. Yeah. So our main part of the project is now completed. So this was the main part. Like this will be our base of the project. Like the GUI, anyone can build it. It's not that difficult. So the base is this. All the buttons, all those features which will be in our application would be just connected or just will be on this logic only. So let me just try to make you understand how this is working in terminal, and then we will go to the GUI part. So like in a terminal, it will be showing this option if we want to enqueue, dequeue, peak, or like. So first of all, our list is, our queue is empty. So first of all, we will add something into it. So I will be choosing one and enter the customer name like Punit Kumar, and then some more like, and then one more. Yeah. So I have added 3 customer into it. Like now I will do dequeue. Like I will check that who is getting served the first. I know who came the first, and now I will be checking it. So see, Punit Kumar has been served. Now I should peek like who will be the first one now to get the served. HP, yes. And then now I can view all the customers who are into my queue. See, HP and Yash, because I have peeked it. I haven't removed her. So that's why she's also in our list of all the customers. And then clear queue, we can just clear all those customers. Like we can now check it. 3 or 4. See, queue is empty, and then we can just simply exit. So with exiting the program. So this was our terminal part. Now I will just try to show you how the GUI part will work, and I will just try to show you how buttons are working in it. So this is our Tkinter part, and one important thing in this is we have imported our own data structure into it because we have made it in a class, so we can call it as our data structure. So we just import that into here. That's an important thing. It's here. Here we have made our data structure we are just importing here. So this is just a basic Tkinter part. I will explain all the functions of the button that will be related to this queue. So this is a basic Tkinter part. We can cover this in further videos if you go guys want. Like this that's not nothing much. We have just divided two frames, 160%, 140%, and here this there is an image and the buttons are all there. That's it. Nothing much. But now these buttons are not working. But we will just apply a logic to make this button work. Only exit button is working. Yeah. So let's start. We'll just start with our first function add customer. Let me just copy paste the code here and I will just try to explain you because then if I would just write this code then it would take a lot of time. So yeah, so let's just start. So let me first. I'm just taking an variable name and just I'm just getting that name, the entry which I will be doing, and then service entry. Like you can see here, this entry both entry I will get it, and then what I will do is if name. If I will give a name, otherwise it would show an error. So I will just keep that customer info because I have to show that downstairs, and I will enqueue that in my queue. Now you all know that how this enqueue is coming here. We already made a function there and we are just trying to access it and we have already imported that in this py5. Yeah. So then we are enqueuing it and then what we have to do is then we have to delete those entries which are there on the top. Like I will just try to show you. Like I should save it. Yeah, I save it. Like I'm writing Punit. Service type I want haircut. My hairs are getting pretty much picky and you can see. Yeah. So I will just click on add customer. I have just added the code of this part, add customer. Yeah, you can see these lines which I have written are like vanished now. So that's what delete do. And the queue list are not showing my current result which I have added because I have to add function for that also. Yeah. So now this is just storing somewhere. This name is just stored somewhere. It's not showing. It will just show. And this delete is just removing that part. Yeah. So we have already done with the add customer part. Now we will focus on next customer part. So what the thing is, if our queue will not be empty, then we will dequeue element from it. Like it's very valid point. Like we can only dequeue when our queue is not empty. Then after dequeuing it, we will just change our label to next customer. For example, let me just try to show you what the concept here is. If I am writing here only haircut and I am adding that customer, and when I will click this serve customer button, so you can see here it's configuring my label again. You can see. So this code is for the configuring part. You can see we have already used the configure button, configure function here for configuring our label again, and then we are updating our queue display. That I will show you afterwards, like for this update queue display. And after serving the first customer, change the button to next customer. Like if there is a queue, the first person is like we have to start serving. So it's called the first serve. Like we can say first customer button, and then after when the first customer is served, then we will click next customer button. So the it will do like next customer, next customer, next customer. But the first customer is important, so I am just doing it myself. It's not necessary, but still I want to do it, so I went. Yeah. If it's empty, so what we should do is like show info queue is empty like this, and then we will config something. You can see serving customer will be displayed here. Okay. Yeah. So this is the concept of our next customer button. So there are some more functions like clear queue button. This is for removing all the elements from the queue. Like you can see this, I will tell you what is this afterwards. Like label, it will just config. Like it's very simple. What the thing it will do is like if I am writing anything here, add customer, and I will click on like this text is now current customer. When I will click remove all, then it will just change the text. This for this code. It is configuring it again and again. Then there is the step search customer, it's for searching. And this is the list box. The list box is like this thing. And we will just writing on this and removing all this, so it's for that only. And the searching button is like we will just traverse it into our queue and just we will just try to find out. And if we find out that particular thing, then we will insert that in our list box. That's the whole concept of this search customer button. And the update queue display button is for that list box only. Like whenever I will be clicking on add customer, then it should put something here. Then whenever I am removing, clicking on this remove all button, it should remove all the elements from here, like all the things. Star button when is removed. That's why you can see this function every time in every function, because we have to update our list box again and again. So let's just take an ending overview, like the final run of it. So first of all, I can write any name like a haircut. Then I'm haircut like anything. Mm, yeah, and I just you can write anything, any name, any name. Save it. Yeah. So we can see a queue list. There are currently 4 customers here. So we can also find some particular customer. Like if I want to find Ram, then I can write only R or RAM. It's up to me. Like R is there in this, or it is all RA is in this, like this. Yeah. So let's just try to add one more. Russia 5 would be perfect. Yeah. So these 5 are added. Yeah. So let me just stop the customer. So yeah. So the current customer is Punit, and 4 are still in our queue. And now the next one. Now 3 are in this queue, and the remaining customer are 3, and the current customer is Yashvi. And we can search if we want. The next customer is there, 2 are left, and the current is Ram. And we can also remove all. This will just set everything back. Like we can see sub customer is again. Again now we can only take a add customer. See. So that's all for today. If you love this video, please click the like button and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.